Earlier this week, I shot a few videos about potentially how to live to be 1,000 or even older, and there are a few reasons why I want to live to be 1,000, and there are a few reasons why I have a little bit of a fear of death. One reason I really like the idea of living to be 1,000 is that you can take a lot more risk if you have that much time on your hands. I mean, if you know you're going to be living to 1,000 and you make a few incorrect choices in life in terms of your career or in terms of your spouse or in terms of just the direction life you take, and they turn out to be wrong, and you have a lot of time to recover. And I'm not saying we should all do stupid things, but having a risk allowance allows you to potentially reap more rewards. It's kind of like investments. You know, if you have a longer time frame to invest, you can get a much higher return compared to somebody who needs to use that money in 2 or 3 years. They can't afford to take the risk. Okay, so that's one reason why living to 1,000 might be beneficial. I'm not just talking financial investments. I mean, if you're living to 1,000, yes, you can invest in stocks instead of bonds, but also in terms of life risk, you can go ahead and marry somebody you just met. You know, if you're wrong, you lose 50 years. So be assuming she doesn't live to be 1,000 as well. You start over, you know, and you can take more risks that way. You know, you can go ahead and start that business that you want to start. You know, you got 1,000 years. You know. You can go ahead and study whatever you want in school. You know, you have 1,000 years. You know, if you waste 10 years, big deal. You know, that's what I really find exciting. But in terms of why I have a little bit of a fear of death, there are two things. One of them I think everybody can relate to. The other is a little bit more religious based. In the last few years, I had a few instances where I almost died, mostly accidents. I had one time where I attempted suicide. I talked about this in a previous video. One big fear I have, if I were to die in the next 5, 10, or even 20 years, is that I have a lot of ideas on computer games and a bunch of other topics. You know, if I die, those ideas die with me. You know, I haven't really communicated them with a lot of people. I've been doing my best to try to write down as much as I can. So when I do die and somebody picks up my laptop or my notepads or whatever, they could try to continue where I left off, but I don't think too many people at this point are very interested. That's why I'm trying to throw them out there on my YouTube channel as much as I can, these computer game ideas. You know, if I were to die, I suspect my computer, they'll just go to Goodwill and the computer will get reset. Nobody will look at those files. I suspect if I were to die today, that's what would happen. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that by getting my information out there on YouTube, it might change a little bit. And hopefully I won't die today. The other interesting thing, well, the problem with the games is that I always think that I have a few more ideas and then I can be satisfied. I write them down and I come up with these ideas, and then there's more. You know, it's kind of like you're never going to be satisfied, no matter how many times you have sex. You know, no matter how much money you make, you know, you're never going to be satisfied. The way I approach coming up with these computer games, it kind of feels like that. And unfortunately, no matter what age I die, I'll probably die with a lot of things that are not done yet with the games, just because of how much I like them. You know, I'll probably be in my deathbed still worrying about who's going to continue writing. Hopefully, I'll attract a lot of attention by then, but I don't think I'll die in peace in terms of the computer games. I mean, unless I die unexpectedly, then I guess I won't have a choice. Alright, the other fear of death I have is reincarnation. When I was working on my PhD, I dated a girl who came from a rather dysfunctional family, and I was thinking if I were in her shoes, I don't think I could do much better. It's just, her whole family is just It's just very hard to get to live straight, you know, growing up in that kind of background, and I worry for myself because those people have a lot of children. Statistically, you're probably likely to be born into that kind of family, unless there are some changes socially to change the incentives of who has children and whatnot. Unfortunately, people like me who have a PhD, there's a huge disincentive for us to have children because we're busy. You know, it's unfortunate. If I were to have children, I'd probably put them up for adoption just so I could continue on my computer games. I don't know, you know, if it's genetic, whether or not we'll do well in life, then maybe it might work out. But I think it's probably more environmental, so that's not going to work either. And that's when I think about what's going to happen when I get reincarnated. The first thing I want to do is to reach for a giant pile of healthy food, so at least I could push that off a few more hours or days or however long it extends my life. That's what keeps me going in terms of the healthy eating. Another thing another reason I love to record YouTube videos is I want my future life, my future reincarnation, to watch my current videos. I want to give myself advice 100 years from now, or 1,000 years from now, or whatever it is. I know it's a little bit far-fetched, but that's what keeps me going. If not myself, at least give somebody else advice, because you know, a lot of these things I picked up over a course of a number of years. I don't want somebody else to have to learn from their own mistakes. If I can't give my reincarnated life advice, maybe somebody else's reincarnated life, I'll be satisfied. Thanks for watching.